it's Kara again on Rump Raves. I just did it again. I recorded an entire video without being recorded. So that's disappointing, and now I have to sit here for longer and record it again, which I guess is not really a big deal because I like doing videos, but I was just kind of excited to upload it and go to bed because I'm really tired. Anyway, this is an unboxing video for Little Bee Creations. This is a purchase that I made myself. It's not a sample. I just decided I wanted to build on my stash a little bit, and I liked her pads. And they were very, very reasonably priced, so I guess that's why I picked her. It was just a cloth pad set. It's 8 of them. You get 2 14-inch pads, 3 12-inch pads, 2 10-inch pads, and 1 7-inch pad. The 14-inch pads are overnight, the 12 inches are heavy, the 10 inches are regular, and the 7-inch is light. So yeah, it's kind of like a custom order, but not really, because everything, all the sizes and absorbencies are set, but then you get to choose your top fabrics. And she has a huge selection. She only does flannel, but she has tons and tons of fabric options. She also makes cloth diapers too, so yeah. So this is my order. This is just what it looks like on Etsy. She is an Etsy seller. She also has her own website as well, but I purchased this from Etsy. And this is the colors. I will be explaining what color each one is. I only sent in 7 prints for some reason for her, so she just repeated one. But that is okay because it was one that I liked. So, yeah. So this is the 7-inch. One of the first things that I noticed is that her top stitching around the edge of her pads is not very neat, because you can see the other side through it at some points, and it just kind of goes away onto the edge. Not as drastically as I was showing, but it's just, it doesn't look very neat. It just looks like she kind of sped through it wanting to get done. But it doesn't affect the functionality of the pad at all. It's just something that I noticed. So her 7-inch design has just straight stitches for the core stitching, and the other ones are all contoured. And the 7-inch also has a single snap instead of 2 next to each other. So yeah, this one is called Winter Cardinal. Now I have 2 10-inch pads. These are the regulars. Her light is not that thin for a light pad, but it's still very thin, but it's not that thin for a light pad. But then all of her other pads are super thin. I don't know, I guess it's probably more absorbency than most people would need for a light pad. That's probably why it's thicker. So it's probably more like a regular absorbency in a shorter pad. And then she just considers it a light because it's short. Because it feels about the same thickness. Maybe like one more layer of flannel in this, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a regular, and this is thin. This is so thin. You would not, yeah, this would be so comfortable. Her pads are a little bit wider than I would have liked, but there are some days that I like wider pads too, so that's great. So all of her other pads have 2 snaps next to each other, and so it snaps up like this. I can show you the light snapped up too. So this is the 10-inch snapped up. It has a contoured core, but it snaps up pretty straight. It's just a little bit more contoured right where your legs would go, so that makes it a little more comfortable. And here is the 7-inch. Each of her pads are progressively wider as they go up. And when it gets to the 14-inch one, it's super, super wide. But that would be good for some people, because some people like really wide pads when they're sleeping, and definitely if you're postpartum, you want a wide pad. So yeah, it's just a little bit wider than the Cardinal one. back here. I'll just leave one of each size snapped up and I can compare them all at the end. And so this one is just called zebra. This one is called giraffe. I just know these off the top of my head because I just recorded this video to myself. So yeah. She uses cam snaps. Cam snaps are just polyresin snaps. They're probably the most known snap company or brand, and I would say that they're probably somewhere around the best quality, unless you want to go out and buy some designer expensive snap. Anyway, on to the 12-inch pads. Here they are. This one is called Lace Floral Dark. So it's just a flowery, pretty print, and it's the blue on the pad is a little bit teal, and then there's just blue snaps. So it's not an exact match, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I guess it kind of does, but I'm a perfectionist, so it probably wouldn't bother you. One thing that I have to mention is that her pads, starting with maybe it's the 10-inch, I'll figure it out. No, the 10-inch is symmetrical. So her 7 and 10-inch pads are symmetrical on both sides, and the 12 and 14-inch pads are a little bit wider in the back, so you can see that white through there. The white that you're seeing through is this end being wider than this end. So that just means that you have more coverage on one side. So that's up to you. Whoa, I'm out of the frame, my forehead's cut off. Anyway, you can decide for you where you need that extra coverage, because if you sleep on your stomach, then you're going to want it more in the front. Or if you're just standing up and you bleed more towards the front, then you're going to want it in the front. I would say most people want the more coverage in the back, but if you need it in the front, then you can just flip it around and it works the other way too. So that's nice that you have options with her pads, especially with the heavier ones. On a heavier day is probably when you're going to want to care more about what coverage you have. So this next one is called Circle Blue. So it's just this circly design like that. And it's blue. And it has the same color of snaps as the last one. All of her pads have just white flannel on the back, and they're all done with PUL. Even the light pad is done with PUL. I'm not sure what the size of the PUL is, because you can get thinner PUL or thicker PUL, depending on what you're using it for. And also the top fabric of all her pads is also flannel. She doesn't offer any other. So yeah. And I will snap up one of those. This is the 12-inch. Also, there's one more 12-inch pad. It's the same print. So it's the same print as the 7-inch. The Winter Cardinal print. So I'll snap up one of the 12-inch pads and I'll show it with the 10-inch. So there we go. I'll get it lined up so you can see the width difference. It's just a tiny bit wider. It's probably just like a 1/4 inch wider. Well, no, it couldn't be a 1/4 inch wider. That's ridiculous. But it's a very small amount wider. Just like that. And obviously longer because it's different length. Okay, and then there are two, the 12 inches were heavies, and these are 2 overnight or postpartum absorbencies. So this one is neat. I like this. I am not really into super girly things or like the color pink or anything, and this is kind of both of those, but I love this because I don't know, it's just so cool because it's the hearts and pink and girly and everything, but it's fingerprints. You can see, especially on one like this, the hearts are made out of fingerprints, and I thought that was really neat. I remember taking a science class in like junior high when we were studying fingerprints, and we'd like look at our own fingerprints with magnifying glasses and figure out what types of fingerprints we have, and I just remember thinking that was so cool, and then I picked out this pattern just because of that, so that was neat that she had that. And then the last one is Midnight Hearts. This one was kind of disappointing when I got it because I didn't actually get a heart. I got 2 ends of hearts. So I guess it's okay because the rest of it's not like it was a wasted pattern because the rest of it is still cool, and I got the ends of the hearts with like the dripping stuff. But it was just a little bit disappointing that I didn't get a heart. But that's just me. I'm picky kind of. So this one again, it's wider in what most people would call the back. And I like the red that she uses with her red snaps. It's super bright. Bright, bright red. So that is all the pads that I got. There's 8 of them. I hope I showed all of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I did. Hope so. Anyway, this is the width of the 14-inch. It's really, really wide. This is it compared to my hand. It's wider than my hand. I do have really small hands though, so keep that in mind, I guess. I'm not going to measure it because I don't have a measuring tape with me. One more thing I wanted to point out is how perfect her core stitching is. If you look at that, the spacing of the core stitching is just perfect, and the curvature of it, just how it curves around, I don't know if you can even see that, but it's just perfect and symmetrical and beautiful, and she really took her time on it. Okay, so here is all the pads compared. I will try to line up the edges, and you can see how they progressively get wider. Sorry, this is hard to line up. Alright, so now you can see. Yeah, there's the lengths. I guess I'll pull them all down to the bottom too, so you can see the lengths. So all different lengths, and then their widths just get progressively wider. I can show you the smallest one compared to the biggest one, and you can see there's a big difference there. So yeah, that is my cloth pad haul, I guess. Yeah, so thanks for watching. You can subscribe if you would like to keep up with the rest of my videos. I have a bunch of other ones too. I have so many more also that I'm planning to make. I have a giant, unimaginably long list. I feel like I add more than I actually make, so I can add like 5 video ideas in a day, and then I make like 3 videos in a week. So yeah, my list is growing fast. And then I love when I get